Hello, I am Joanna Smith Ramani, the co-executive director of the Aspen Institute Financial Security Program, and I am thrilled today to be in discussion with Mike Byrne. He's a specialist executive at Deloitte, and I have gotten to know him through the work that the Financial Security Program has been doing around the intersection of financial security and climate shocks and stressors, and in particular, how do we ensure ongoing equitable financial security in a time of a climate constrained world? So Mike has decided to join us, has offered to join us to share his wisdom in the true Aspen style, to help us learn more about this intersectional issue and how to be more prepared and how we can stay relevant in the real financial lives of families. Hello, Mike. How are you today?
I'm good, Joe. Good to see you.
It is so good to see you. So just so everyone knows a little bit about you, from what lens are you approaching this issue? What brings you to this intersectional space?
Well, I've spent over 40 years in disaster and emergency response in a variety of settings, from New York City firefighter to being a federal coordinating officer at FEMA, managing. I managed Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and Sandy in New York. So, you know, I used to tell people, like I get to travel a lot, but you don't want to go to the places I go to because it's usually not a good time.
Right. Yeah. And tell me, where have you seen these challenges pop up? And specifically in the wide breadth of kinds of emergencies you've dealt with, where finance is messing, like household finance, not big economic development finance, which of course is such a big part of these issues, but where someone's financial life is really being changed, harmed, stressed, however, because of the environmental changes around them.
Thanks for that question, Joe. And I've thought about it, that a lot. It goes way back to my early days as a New York City firefighter. How many people do you know have had a fire? And usually it's hard. It's not, thank God there's not a lot, but I got to go to a lot of them, and in a lot of neighborhoods in New York that were sort of like Brownsville, East New York, Brooklyn, South Jamaica, Queens, Harlem, and I'd see a fire happen, and it becomes a routine thing, except unless you look at the people. When you come out of the building, you put the fire out, and you see the people standing in their slippers and with a robe around them, and they just left everything they had behind, right? And so that is never. Those visions have never left me, which is why it's something that I focused on and I took with me as I moved into other positions to manage crisis, where I was then in a position to maybe try to help people when they're having having one of these bad days.
Yeah, it's totally heartbreaking. And when you look at some of the bigger, not just one family that's been harmed by a fire per se, but you were involved in Sandy, you were involved in other hurricanes. How does it feel on that scale when you have so many families struggling and they're sort of looking you in the eye saying, like, I don't know what to do at this point, right?
Yeah. I think the first thing you have to accept as an emergency manager is that, I think we sometimes get very, very focused on the disaster, the causal event, but you're really not doing justice to the problem set that you're walking into to manage these things if you don't really examine the found environment. There was something there, and it wasn't perfect before you got there, and now it just got all kinds of tension thrown onto it, and creates even far more challenges. How do you house people? After Sandy, when we did some analysis of the impact on terms of habitability, we discovered we had 42,000 families that could not, go back into their homes.
Wow.
What do you do with that? Especially in an area like New York City, where you always go to hotel rooms or rental property. We all know that the vacancy rate, especially for Sandy, because Sandy was right around the Christmas holidays, the vacancy rate was, very, very low. So how do you then manage that? And that's where you have to bring some creativity that, and I know I'm going to sound corny saying this, that is grounded in compassion. If you don't lead with compassion, you're never going to get to the right solution. Okay. But grounded in compassion, you have to come up with innovative solutions sometimes, which we did in Sandy, where we went in and did something FEMA hadn't done before, and we provided direct repair. We funded direct repair for the city agencies and the county agencies to go in and actually fix the people's homes. And fortunately, in 100 days after the storm hit, we were able to put 21,000 families of that group of challenges that we had back into their homes, regardless of income level, regardless of problems. But, I'm a great believer in Occam's razor, that philosophical point of view where the simplest path is usually the correct one.
Right.
And at the end of the day, no matter who you are, you have something like that happen. And what do you want to do? You want to get back into your home.
That's right.
We did. We focused our efforts on doing that, and we were able to reduce a lot of suffering because of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. What do people, but it's like the hierarchy of needs of what people need. They need shelter, they need money to feed their families, to feed themselves, to get clothes again. And how do we do that quickly, with dignity, with predictability? I know you and I have talked quite a bit about that in other contexts. I'm going to pause for a moment on creativity grounded in compassion. What a beautiful, important North Star of how we think about how to solve these problems. And it leads me to my next question for you, which is, what is bringing you the most hope or optimism right now? What solutions, what ideas, what leadership, where can, especially our field, you are in a different field from, my work, my network, my friends and family. And we want to learn from you about, again, how do we do our jobs better as financial security folks, people who are deep in the financial lives of families. And in this intersectional area, what is bringing you hope or optimism around problems that seem to be getting bigger, more common, and happening in more places around our country?
Just for starters, the fact that we're having this conversation, the fact that, my problem set and your problem set are talking and trying to find ways to work together, because, and we've talked about this. One of the things that government agencies, and not just FEMA, but the Small Business Administration with low interest loans, the HUD with their block grants, USDA with their programs. There's really lots and lots of programs that can bring resources to people that have had impact. But let's think about that for a second. So a FEMA individual assistance grant usually average about $6,000 or $7,000, but it can go as high as $30,000, $33,000.
Okay.
Some of these families have never had that much money, in one lump sum before, and even if they had, they don't have a lot of experience on what to. So how do I spend this wisely? What do I do? And I've always thought that was a gap that we needed to bring resources to, which I'm so excited that in reading your plan that you're doing, is to be there, not as a paternalistic kind of way, but a collaboratory way, in the way that you work together to help them make the best use of what resources they have in front of them. So I'm optimistic about that. I'm also optimistic that I see that the discussion is going beyond even us now, that even the Congress has two bills up on the Hill right now, one in the Senate, one in the House, to talk about a disaster fairness act, okay, to where the programs are now designed to be more customer friendly. Right now we ask a lot of people who apply for assistance. They have to provide proof of ownership, they have to provide demonstration of damage, all things that, put yourself in their position. You don't know where to start to clean up the mess that this event has made, and you're getting asked for all these documents. It's, we can do a better job of that, especially in the world of technology that we have today, where
most certainly,
the consumer market, has definitely figured this out. They've made it real easy to spend money. Okay,
that's exactly right. So can we move money as people need it? Yeah. That's exactly right. Well, that gives me a moment to plug a set of research that we'll have out around government to people payments, around really doing exactly what you said across different government agencies, whether it's predictable kinds of public benefits that people expect or money in times of crisis. But how do we really design more for what the family, the household, what are the lessons we can learn, honestly, from the private sector about how to do this better? Well, Mike, you are doing important work, so I don't want to keep you any longer. I will just add that what gives me hope and optimism is that there are leaders who think about creativity grounded in compassion. I think I need to like cross stitch that over my, hang it over my desk at work. But that truly you are open to working with folks like us and thinking about this as a multi-sector, intersectional, urgent issue that our country is facing and that we can do something about. So thank you so much, Mike. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.